My husband bought this little sign that hangs on our wall, and it says, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
So one of the things I always tell my clients is to seek advice from people who've been there, done that. So today we're going to listen in as Julie Sweet, the CEO of Accenture, shares her success stories.
Times where being a woman is probably not helping your career. So when it does help your career, take the opportunity and then stand out. One of the most pivotal moments in my life was actually when I was a sophomore in high school. And my dad used to take me to speech contests, and that was a way for me to earn money to save for college. And I remember.
First of all, this is amazing listening to Julie. Like, she just dives into, how she was able to stand out and how that helped her build her success and how involved her dad was in this process. What's interesting though, I just have to look at this. So she was in speech, she competed in speech, and she got paid. So that means she was really good, because I competed in speech, but I remember we got ribbons and we got little trophies, but we did not get money. So it's very interesting. I'm gonna have to do some more research to see, how did she get paid at these speech tournaments as a sophomore? So let's listen in. But clearly, she was already developing her communications.
I remember it was the Lions Club, and I was in the final round, and I lost. And I went.
Well, there we go. She was in the Lions Club. Okay, so they must have had a competition that was sponsored by the Lions Club, and they got paid. The winners got paid.
Home, and I was kind of complaining. And my father said to me, you really have to be so good that they have to give it to you.
Okay, let's just stop there for a moment. So here she is competing. She doesn't get first place. She doesn't win, or she doesn't place the way she wants to. And her dad's like, well, if you want to win at that level, you have to be the best, so they don't have a choice. And I'm having some flashbacks to when I competed in speech in my sophomore, junior, and I think even my senior year. And let me just tell you how terrible I was. I stung up the place. I consistently got red ribbons. I had a terrible fear of public speaking, the deepest fear you'd ever have. Google it, it's called glossophobia. I would get on stage, have a panic attack, but I forced myself to do it because I remember someone in my life said, communication skills matter. You have to be able to speak in front of people. And I thought this was a thing that I was going to have to be able to do to succeed in life. Looking back, they weren't wrong. It was good advice. The way I went about it, though, without any extra support or getting some help in this area, it was really challenging for me to continually get red ribbons. So it's interesting. She and I had similar experiences. Here she is, though, winning at speech competitions or doing very well. I was getting red ribbons, but it was both taking us in a certain direction. For her, though, so she went, had this competition. Her dad's like, listen, if you want to compete, if you want to do well, if you want to win, you have to make it inevitable. So I wonder how that played out for her.
And you weren't. It was a really good lesson for me. I really took to heart the idea of excellence and no excuses.
You made what some would see as a surprising or bold career move after spending 17 years at a law firm to make the move to Accenture. Did you see that as a career risk or a big jump?
I don't think I fully contemplated how much of a risk it was. I was really thinking about, how do I want to live my life? I was 42 years old, and I said, I can see my future. I know what the next 20 years are going to be like if I stay here. And Accenture really provided an opportunity to challenge myself. Because if you think about it, I went from the young girl who had never traveled outside the US, who went and studied Chinese. Then I went to law school, and I grew up in a family that didn't sort of live in the corporate world. Then I became general counsel at a company of technology, and I didn't know that. And so each time you make a choice, and it's a choice about reinvention.
How would you?
It's interesting how she talks about the power of choosing that which is hardest, right? She clearly says, she's always chosen the thing that challenged her the most. She was having a great career. She could have stayed there, and yet she could see the next 20 years. But then Accenture came along, and she couldn't predict what that was going to be like because she didn't know. She didn't know that world, but she felt the challenge of that, and she wanted that challenge. And I think as CEOs, so often, whether we're working for someone else or we are starting our own business, we feel that that desire to be challenged. We feel that pull of our companies evolving, and we have a choice. Like either we stay where we are or we continue to evolve and be challenged. And I get it. Like sometimes it's just easier to be more comfortable. It's easier to stay where we are. But is that what we're supposed to be doing? And I notice when I do that, when I don't step up to the next challenge, the next risk, I start to stagnate and I start to get depressed. So definitely share in the comments below, like, does that resonate with you? Like if you feel pulled to make a change in your career or in your business and you don't do it, how do you feel? How does that affect you? And how does that usually turn out versus taking the risk, not knowing what's going to happen?
Would you describe your leadership style now, and how has it evolved over time?
I've always been someone who has been collaborative, but I would say it's collaboration on steroids. I learned early in my career that tapping into the best people, not having an ego, like really knowing what you don't know and what you do know and how to bring teams together is how to be most effective.
Throughout your career, you're someone who has always pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone. What pushes you outside of your comfort zone now?
I feel like every day I'm being pushed outside my comfort zone because what we're doing as a company is trying to help our clients lead disruption instead of being disrupted.
So again, interesting how she went to Accenture, like was drawn there because she knew it would be a challenge. And she's saying like every day she feels challenged there. Every day she feels like she's out of her comfort zone because their clients are challenging them. And I can certainly relate, and I'm sure many of you can as well, that when you're working with your clients and when you're helping them get to the next level, it's going to challenge you as well. It forces you to be on the leading edge or the cutting edge of whatever you're doing so you can be the best that you can for them. Years ago, I wrote a book called The Belief Zone because I always ask this question, when we leave our comfort zone, right? You hear people say all the time, I was so out of my comfort zone. What does that mean? When you leave your comfort zone, where do you go? And what I learned back then as I was researching and writing the book and working with our clients is that when you leave your comfort zone, you step into a new belief zone. And when you step into a new belief zone, you can make that leap to the next level in your life or your business or whatever it is that you want to create, because you have to create new beliefs about what's possible for you and who you are. And it sounds like this is something like Julie's just continually making these leaps in her career and her professional life.
One of the ways that I keep myself like kind of grounded is my husband bought this little sign that hangs on our wall, and it says, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. And so when Okay, gotta stop there. Two things that I think are very interesting. Having a supportive partner, spouse, in her case, a husband, is so critical and so helpful to our success. And not just, I don't know anything about her marriage or her personal life or anything like that, but it is easier, I will say, when you have someone, or maybe you don't have that. Maybe you don't have a partner or a relationship like that right now, but maybe you have a best friend. Having someone in your court, and for me, for a long time before I was in a relationship with my husband, it was my mom. My mom has been my biggest cheerleader since I was just a wee child. And having her hold the belief for me that I could do whatever I wanted to was remarkable. And, share in the comments below, like who do you have in your life? Who holds that belief for you that when you want to quit or when you want to stop, or just the belief that you can be more successful or play at a different level? Who holds that belief for you? In her case, it's her husband, right? She's sharing this. Her husband has shared this, or has this sign. They have the sign that says, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. So imagine being in that environment all the time and in that belief, and how that serves her. And of course, she chose her husband because of who she is and how she shows up in the world. Just noticing that, who you have around you, who you surround yourself with, really matters. When I'm facing uncertainty or worried about, is this the right strategy in the face of what we need? I think about that and say, okay, good. If I'm a little scared, it must mean that I'm doing the right thing.
If you were to rewind the clock 20, 25 years and were writing a letter to your younger self, what advice would you have loved to have been given at that point in time or to have heard?
I would say to believe in yourself, because I've often worried and spent more time not having confidence, reached what I wanted to, and then realized, wow, I was a lot better than everyone else, right?
It's hard to imagine Julie not having confidence, right? Like when we watch her now, right? We watch the end result of where she is now in time, and she just comes across as so confident. So it's a great reminder that, when we see people, I'm sure there's still things that stretch her, but you see people around you and you just assume they have it all together. You assume that, they're super confident. In my experience and having interviewed hundreds of people on my podcast and just connecting with so many CEOs over time and meeting lots of people, I can tell you that most of the population has imposter syndrome, or most people, they don't feel like they're enough, or they feel like somebody's going to find out they're not it, or they don't know what they're doing. And I think as humans, we can have that underlying fear. And so it's a great reminder that, she got to a point in her life though, where she said, I am more than enough. I've got this. And it's an invitation for all of us to step into that, knowing that we have enough, we know enough, we're supposed to be taking that next step in our business or our lives.
Right. And I think you really have to follow your instincts and have confidence to make the journey a little bit less stressful.
I just got done watching this really great video with Julie Sweet of Accenture. And one of the things she talked about is the power of staying outside your comfort zone. I say that all the time, but hearing her say it, so hearing her remind us how important it is to do those things that scare us, because on the other side of what we're afraid of is our next step in business. Stick with me, because up next, you're going to see how I reacted to a scene from the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, Coffee is for Closers. And remember, your 2X is waiting for you too.